World Geography, United States and Canada, Migration and Immigration. Here are the learning objectives. Number 1. Distinguish between immigration and migration. What different types of push and pull factors affect these two types of movement of peoples? Number 2. Describe the Columbian Exchange and its effect on people around the world. Number 3. What innovations influence migration? Number 4. Describe 2 American disasters that led to mass migration. Number 5. How is the Rust Belt different from the Sun Belt? Number 6. Define brain drain. Number 7. Which government policy is best, multiculturalism or assimilation? Early settlers. Immigration and migration. Abundant natural resources, the moderate climate, fertile soil, plentiful water, all these things here in North America attract immigrants from overseas in search of a better life. Migration is the movement of peoples within the country, and this is common too. First inhabitants. Nomads coming from Asia first arrived on the North American continent more than 13,000 years ago. During the Ice Age, what happened is they crossed a frozen land bridge which connected Siberia and Alaska. Then, as the earth warmed, glaciers melted and the sea levels rose, and it cut these two continents off from one another. Now these inhabitants, these nomads, were stranded in Americas. These nomads were what Europeans would later call the American Indians or Native Americans. Here's a diagram. You can examine the migration route from Siberia across the Aleutian Island chain into Alaska and down into North America. Columbian Exchange. The arrival of Europeans in North America began what historians refer to as the Columbian Exchange. The definition of the Columbian Exchange is the spatial diffusion of animals, plants, culture, human populations, including slaves, communicable diseases, and ideas between the Western, or the New World, and the Eastern, or the Old World, between these two hemispheres, West and East. Contact between these two areas circulated a wide variety of new crops and livestock, and these supported a growing population in both hemispheres. Here's a diagram of the Columbian Exchange. You can see the products that existed in the New World prior to its discovery by Columbus, and you can see the products or the diseases that existed in the Old World. Once the explorers came to the Americas, these goods got exchanged between East and West. Products, disease, slavery. Early explorers returned to Europe with corn, potatoes, and tomatoes. European horses and cattle provided the New World settlers with transportation, assistance with heavy labor on the farm, and they were a source of nutrition. Native Americans, unfortunately, they lacked an immunity to European diseases. Many of them contracted smallpox, and hundreds of thousands died. This created a population crisis. In response to this crisis, European settlers brought in Africans from the African continent. They brought them to the Americas to work as slave laborers on the cotton and tobacco plantations in the South. Migration and the physical environment. Innovations. Settlers used their knowledge and skills to interact with and improve their environment. Tunnels and bridges created new paths for transportation and migration throughout the country. Once in a location, dams would provide fresh water and irrigation for crops. Steam-powered boats and trains opened up the American West, the frontier, to new settlements, and the steel plow turned the Great Plains into fertile fields. Disaster-related migration. The Dust Bowl. Migration is a natural response to the prospect or the impact and the aftermath of disasters. The Dust Bowl in 1930s. The Dust Bowl was caused by drought and poor farming techniques. Farmers abandoned their farms, especially in the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma, and they went to work as migrant laborers in California's Imperial Valley. The people from Oklahoma were mostly referred to as Okies in California, which was not a polite thing to call someone. Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina, 2005. Massive winds, a storm surge, poor urban planning, including a plan or a failure to plan for disasters. This led to the evacuation of New Orleans in Louisiana. Most evacuees never returned. Migration within the United States. Internal push-pull factors. A push factor encourages people to leave a place behind. Examples of this in relation to migration include the decline of traditional industries in the American Midwest and cold winter climates. A pull factor encourages people to move to a new place. Examples of this include increased job opportunities, or they may move to experience a more pleasant climate. Rust Belt and Sun Belt. Over the last 40 years, there's been a shift in population from the Rust Belt to the Sun Belt. The geographic location of the Rust Belt, this begins west of the large urban centers on the northeast coast, and it ends on the western shore of Lake Michigan, the Great Lakes. The term Rust Belt refers to the many declining industries and the rusting gates of abandoned manufacturing plants. The Sun Belt, its geographic location is across the south and the southwest. This region has a warm, temperate climate, extended summers, and mild winters. Immigration. Push-pull factors. Immigration refers to the action of permanently leaving one's home to live in a foreign country. It's a little bit different than migration. Migration is movement within a country. Push factors are the unpleasant circumstances that cause people to leave their home country. Examples of push factors are war, discrimination, a lack of economic opportunity, and/or famine. Pull factors attract people to a new place. Examples include political freedom, educational opportunities, employment opportunities, and/or family connections. One of the major goals of immigration policy in the United States is actually to bring families together. Brain drain. Higher paying jobs and better working conditions in the United States tend to attract skilled immigrants from other countries. This flow of educated talent from the less developed to the more developed world, we call this brain drain. Multiculturalism, assimilation. Multiculturalism. The Canadian government enacted the Multiculturalism Act in 1988. This act protected and promoted diversity. However, some Canadians feel that multiculturalism deepens the differences between citizens and creates a society that is actually less harmonious. Assimilation. Assimilation occurs when people from minority cultures assume the language, the customs, and the lifestyles of people from the dominant culture. In the United States, many people feel that assimilation is the best way to build a strong nation from many different peoples. The end. Thank you for listening.